people ever talk about the chances we missed in attack? No. So goalkeepers are playing a game on the field in a different way. So most of the times we play here the game. So that's why I said I talk to the goalpost, because at the present moment I am the super senior in my team, and there are kids who is like 18. So when I made my debut, he doesn't even born that time. So if I abuse him, if I talk to him in a harsh way, he cannot accept it. So now I changed it. Now I cannot talk to him in a rash way. I can talk to him like that. If I abuse him, he doesn't feel bad because he know me. But the youngsters, they cannot accept that. So it's better not talk to them, talk to my goalpost. So unless I don't get a reply from that.
Nice. But that deserves it. Those who know Amit has a great tattoo on his forehand. He made it after they won the medal in Tokyo. He's suited booted right now, so I guess it won't be possible for him to show that. But Amit, दूसरा वाला हाथ क्या पेरिस के लिए छोड़ रखा है? उसके नीचे से जगह छोड़ा पेरिस दूसरे वाले हाथ पे बेटर रहेगा.
देखिए इसके लिए अभी बहुत टाइम है.
ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं है, समय निकल जाता है.
ऊपर वाला सब कुछ भला रहे तो डेफिनेटली अच्छा ही होगा.
और अमित एक और सवाल, क्योंकि ट्रेल ब्लेजर्स है यहाँ पे, बहुत सारे जॉनर्स के सारे स्पोर्ट्स एथलीट यहाँ पे आए हुए हैं. कोई ऐसा स्पोर्ट्समैन जिससे आप मिलना चाहते हो जो यहाँ पे प्रेजेंट है या नहीं है, जिससे आप बातें करना चाहते हो या कुछ पूछना चाहते हो, ऐसा कोई स्पोर्ट्समैन या एथलीट है?
देखिए मैं अदर गेम्स में MS धोनी को मैं फॉलो करता हूँ, और डेफिनेटली मैं अगर कभी मौका मिले तो श्योर मिलूँगा मैं MS भाई से.
क्या पूछोगे?
जब मैं मिलूंगा तभी फेस टू फेस बात करूंगा.
That's a diplomatic answer, but ठीक है, I'll give it to him. Yes.
तो
Viren, I like to
बोलो.
जो अभी तक मैंने नहीं मिला, लेकिन मैं बहुत उसको फॉलो करता हूँ. जो उसका जो कीपिंग है और जो प्लेयर से जो बात करते हैं, तो वो मेरे को अच्छा लगता है और हमेशा शांत रहते हैं. तो सेम श्री भाई ऑलवेज लास्ट गोल पर रहते हैं, तो सब कुछ एनालाइज करते हैं. मेरे को एशियन चैम्पियंस ट्रॉफी चेन्नई में खेल रहा था, तो उस टाइम मैं डिप डिफेंडर खेल रहा था. तो हमारा चेंजिंग होता है, तो मैं उस टाइम लेफ्ट हाफ चला गया था. तो उस टाइम श्री भाई चिल्ला रहे कि अमित तू बीच में आ जा, बीच में आ जा. भाई रुको मैं आ रहा हूँ, क्योंकि उस टाइम सिचुएशन ऐसा होता है कि जाना ही पड़ता है. तो मैं श्री भाई इतना कॉन्फिडेंस है, तो मैं ऐसे ही कॉन्फिडेंस रखे श्री भाई, और पीछे से ऐसे सपोर्ट करते रहे. जैसे वीरेन भाई ने बोला कि बीच बीच में गली ही पड़ता है, वो चीज़ सही होता है क्योंकि प्लेयर एक्टिव हो जाते हैं तुरंत से. तो ऐसे ही सपोर्ट करते रहिए ऐसे.
Viren sir, of course, you are one of the most strongest voices in world hockey right now, Indian hockey, of course. How important is scouting, in your opinion, and of course, how important will it be if India is successful to bring Olympics in 2036?
Yeah, I think not just in hockey but across sports, scouting is absolutely essential. And if we are talking about 32 or 36 Olympics, that means today those kids are between the age group of approximately 12 to 16 years old. And we have to ensure that we have a wide pool of young talent. And I think Saurav Gosal said in one of his previous sessions that you cannot build high performance athletes in 2 years. This is a long journey to build world champion teams, and more so in a team sport like hockey. This is a journey, and today I think we need to support the Indian women's hockey team. From my experience, unfortunately in India, we kick players when they are down. Players need support the most when they are injured and when they lose. This is the time, as a mature sporting nation, we need to support our Indian women's hockey team the most. In 2008, the men's hockey team did not qualify for the Olympics. In 2012, London, I think we finished last. Yeah, we finished bottom. We qualified but finished 12th out of 12 teams. 16, we lost in the quarterfinals. And 20, we won a medal. You can see gradually the journey has gone up. I have no doubt in my mind for the women's team, they will come better. And as a nation, we need to support them the most now when they have not qualified for the Olympics. The easiest thing is to kick them when they are down. But the tougher thing is, can we support them? And can we build for the future? And that involves scouting. We need to be extremely stringent on selection procedures, because when you're selecting 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, you're going to be investing in them for the next 10 years. And the more you allow the selection process to be compromised, the more chances that you will not build champion teams in the future. So we need really good technical experts identifying kids at a young age, put good processes, create an environment that is conducive to excellence for the future, and only then we will build more Srijeshes, more Savitas, and more Amit Rohidases for India for 32 and 36 as well.
Viren, after the Tokyo Olympics, you have seen that in last few years, the domestic league, earlier we had the Hockey India League, and of course you have played with Veer Marathas as well in the first. What has happened in that time, and why we don't have a league? What do you think should be done?
One is from everything I'm hearing, and I've actually kept away from Indian hockey for a while, but from what I'm hearing, the Hockey India League will be revived, if not at the end of this year post the Olympics, so in December, Jan, it may be the year after next. I think if you look at all the top hockey playing nations in the world, all of them have strong hockey leagues. And for any sport to be successful at the Olympic level, I think a strong league is essential. And that is one of the 100 other factors that goes into building champion teams. I think if you look at the Hockey India League around the 2015, 16, 17 mark, many of them like Amit Rohidas also made his name playing in the Hockey India League. And I think during the league, if you look at the quality of the league, there were about 3-4 coaches, foreign coaches in the league, who were all Olympic gold medal winning hockey coaches. They were the best players in the world playing. So if a young 15, 16-year-old, not 15, 16, that's too young, maybe 17, 18-year-olds, like even someone like a Mandeep Singh and all made his name playing in the league. If you share the dressing room with some of the best players in the world, if you learn tactics, strategy from some of the best coaches in the world, spend 2 months with them, how they prepare for big matches, how they prepare for particular opponents. I think that learning is something that cannot be replicated anywhere else. So I think it's crucial that we revive the Hockey India League. I think we have to get the financial model right, and this applies not just for hockey, but for all sports. We have to make it sustainable over a long term. We all know that it's not possible to break even in the first 3 to 5 years, but we have to have a long-term vision in place where players benefit and the sport and all stakeholders benefit for the long run. So I really hope that the Hockey India League gets revived in the next year or two and stays for the long run.
We have very few minutes left, so I'll give 1 minute each to Savita, Amit and PR Srijesh. One message to all the corporate, all the sponsors that support grassroots level of hockey, support grassroots level of sport in all kinds of beats. Any message you want to give to the sponsors, the corporate who are eyeing to invest in the world of sports? Yes, you can start.
For me, to get high quality players on the top level, we just need to invest on the base. So for the corporates, it's really easy to adapt a school, to adapt a school team and conduct tournaments for the kids. Not at the big level, but in the small level, in the village or in the district level. If you are introducing game to the kids, that's the best way to to develop or cultivate that game from the grassroots. Because when the kids get addicted towards that game, they force their parents to support them. then automatically parents started to follow the game. Then they will started to take the kids to the ground. They take the kids to the tournaments. So that's how the games develop. How cricket's developed. The same way. If you go any corner, you can see in an academy. The parents are waiting there for their kids to train, to finish that. They'll go to the coaches. They'll talk. So for the corporates, definitely that's the best part. Adapt a school, support their kids, conduct tournaments. Or through that, they automatically get publicity, media, social media, or through news media. So I believe invest on the kids. That will be a great achievement for the sport.
Yeah, I agree with Shrijesh bhai, and definitely जब हम छोटे थे तो हमें ग्रास रूट पे जब हम खेलते थे तो एक यही रहता था कि फ्यूचर कैसा होगा. पेरेंट्स को एक वो चीज़ रहता है कि बच्चों का फ्यूचर इतना टाइम अगर इस चीज़ में लगा रहे हैं तो बच्चों का कैरियर बनेगा कि नहीं. बट जब ये स्पॉन्सर्स आते हैं, जब ये सपोर्ट मिलती है तो आप कहीं ना कहीं फाइनेंशियली भी आपको हेल्प मिलता है और वो आपको एक कॉन्फिडेंस लाता है कि आप ठीक है, क्योंकि हर एक बच्चा घर से निकलता है तो वो अपने पेरेंट्स के लिए कुछ करना चाहता है. अगर ये सपोर्ट ज़्यादा मिलता रहेगा तो आप कंटिन्यू अपना फोकस अपनी गेम पे रखेंगे और इन चीज़ों से फ्री होंगे तो डेफिनेटली अच्छा करेंगे. तो ये चीज़ें अगर ग्रास रूट से स्टार्ट होती है तो डेफिनेटली एक एथलीट के लिए काफ़ी अच्छा रहेगा.
Absolutely, and two of the pillars of Indian hockey, and if we don't invest, if we don't support them, if we don't read about them, if we don't write about them, then hockey on podium, the dream will never be successful. So if we want hockey on podium, then we will have to invest on it. We will have to support these guys to the max.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was hockey on the podium, and the thing about, I'll just sort of wrap it up with a minute. Viren and I were together in London. Viren and I were together in Rio, and we worked together. Viren and I did multiple shows when Shrijesh did that 6-seconder miracle in Tokyo, and Savita did what she did against Australia. So Viren, we need to be together during Paris. So I'm saying from now. Savita, I remember that night in Ranchi. I called her at 11. She wasn't speaking, neither was I. She was crying. One could understand what she was going through, and she said, "It's time to call it quits and I will retire." As captain, she wanted to take the responsibility, and that was the end of the story. And all I told her was, your father has been instrumental in your career, just have a chat with him and then decide what you want to do. And Savita Punia, in my eyes, is the Savita Punia against Australia in Tokyo, not the Savita Punia in Ranchi. So that Australia Savita Punia has to come back again and inspire millions of young girls. That's your story, not Ranchi. P.R. Shrijesh, a hero of mine, absolute hero of mine. I asked him at the end of the Tokyo Games, he was there, 10 of us were there from the media, and we had to do interviews 6 foot apart because of COVID. And I had asked him, so will you be around for the next 4 years and play Paris? And he said, who knows? We did a felicitation in Vijayanagar, if you remember. Neeraj was there, you were there, Bajrang was there, and I said, will you be around? And he said, don't know. And he said, if I have the same passion, if I believe that I can do what I did in Tokyo and better that for India, it's not about holding on to my place, it's about getting that podium if I deserve to be under that goalpost. P.R. Shrijesh. Amit Rohidas. P.R. Shrijesh at least has some equipment on his body. Amit Rohidas, when he rushes out to stop a penalty corner with that ball, no equipment. The best first rusher in the world, he's the one who India will bank on to stop that penalty corner and give Shrijesh that shield come Paris. It's a tough group. It's a tough group, but at the same time, the color of that medal has to change. Ladies and gentlemen, Amit Rohidas. And to my two colleagues, Abhijit Deshmukh and Shubhan Chakraborty, and to my audience. Thank you very much. Put your hands together for Viren Raskina, Savita Punia, P.R. Shrijesh, and Amit Rohidas. And can we please have Amit Bansal from Pebble to come up on stage and felicitate our panelists. Amit Bansal, please. And we will straight jump in after the felicitation to our next panel, which is with my dear friend and coach of the Indian national team, Igor Stimac. I don't know, coach, if you're politically correct in the morning, but this is a session to be completely candid, so I'll give you that opportunity again. So, after the, can we have, yes. Amit Bansal to felicitate ठीक है, it's okay. Viren, Savita, Shrijesh, and Amit Rohidas. And can we then take a photograph? Thank you very much. All of you come together for a photograph, please. Amit, thoda paas ho jaiye. हाँ. Can we have the photograph? That's it. Thank you very, very much. Thanks a lot. Thank you. Thanks, Amit. Thanks, Shubhan. Thanks, Abhijit. Can we now call on stage coach of the Indian national team, World Cup winner, 1998, a World Cup football medalist, one of the largest transfers at that point in time as part of the English Premier League, someone who has coached Luka Modric and the rest of the Croatian national team. Put your hands together for Igor Stimac. Again, someone who I love to hear. He was in the panel just about an hour back. The marathon king, someone who's revolutionized distance running in India, Anil Singh. Serious work going on in the banking domain, supporting HS Pranoy, supporting a number of other Indian athletes, MVS Murthy. We all want our fans to be in the stands, but it doesn't always happen because we don't know how to get our opportunity to get there. Someone who has done serious work in the sports tourism domain, Raghav Gupta. I don't know if Murli is there. Trisha, can you guide me? He's not there. Okay, so that's the panel. Perfect. Microphones all there? Yes. Just that, because otherwise television is bhalo lage. না না ওটা থাকবে অগ্নি কোথায় বাবা এসো অগ্নি গিয়ে লুকিয়ে পড়ে কিছু বললেই বলে তুমি প্রশ্ন করো Okay, so I'll actually give you the first bite of the cherry because you and I have discussed Igor, we have discussed Indian football. In your show, you have asked me 1 million times to send you a voice note on Mohun Bagan East Bengal. Hello. So, microphone gulo chalate hobe. Hello.
Hello.
Console, yeah. So, you have asked me all these questions.
Yeah.
And each time you and I have said, this is the time for Indian football. And you said, why is it not happening? Why is it not happening? When you watch the Indian national team play now, don't you believe that fitness-wise, things have changed, that we are now there to compete, and that's something coach has brought, the culture that we believe, yes, we can. Don't you believe as a media person that that change has happened?
Oh yes, absolutely. First of all, thank you so much. This is my second session at the Trailblazers Conclave 2.0. So, whenever I remembered Indian football, previously, you know, all that came to my mind was the heartbreaking image of Sunil Chhetri folding his hands, going around the stadium asking for support. That image, I think, has been etched in our mind and hearts for a long, long time, being an ardent Indian fan. But now when I, look at the Indian national football team, I see fitness, I see skill, determination I see, and the quest to do well, the hunger to do well against top teams in the world. And I think let's all applaud Mr. Igor Stimac for bringing a sea change in the culture of Indian football. Ladies and gentlemen, Igor Stimac for you. Can we have a huge round of applause for him?
এক মিনিট ওইখানটা একটু বসাও, people need to settle down.
Yes, requesting everybody to settle down, please, because the next session
speakers are there, so kindly settle down. ওইখানটা একটু বসাও, then we'll continue. Because I get it. I mean, yes, the selfies and all, but we've got to show respect to our speakers here.
Yeah, I'm done.
Coach, when I see the team and the hope you have ignited, when I see the team and the effort that I see, when in your case, Croatian national team head coach, the best in the world, the most successful footballing nation with 2 World Cup medals in the last whatever time, multiple World Cups, Croatian national team coach, one of the greatest ever defenders, one of the greatest players of his time. Why India? How come India? Where is it coming from?
I met a very interesting guy who is Indian, and he convinced me that I'm destined to help India to awaken in football. And that's how it happened. I became interested in what's happening here in football. And the time came when India was looking for the coach, and he approached me and told me, you need to go for it. This is my country, you will love it. You need to help my country rise in football. He's a huge football fan, and I did it. I was free at the time, and that was the time when I decided to look for the job again. And that was the first opportunity I got. People recognized the results of my study, which were going on for a couple of months, about Indian history in football, about actual situation, about what can be done. And they accepted me as the new coach, and I'm still here. Now it's full 5 years.
The media has lapped up every statement of yours, and there is, and last year, for example, when that Bengaluru match happened, coach, the fans were overwhelmingly with you. Can you tell me what that means to you? Because this is a session on sports consumption. The Indian fan, which Raghav, for example, facilitates, which Anil Singh has now made a part of this movement, which Mr. Murthy empowers. How important is the Indian fan for you?
No, listen, it's amazing, it's beautiful when the work is recognized, when the fans are celebrating victories, but our job, coach's job, is not to be driven away from the focus. You know, we cannot spare time for celebrations or disappointments. We don't have time for such. We need to leave that to the supporters, to the fans. You know, we need to stay focused on what needs to be done, because football, as any other sport, is a long process. It's about teaching players on a daily basis what needs to be done, how every training session needs to be approached. After training session, there is analysis, how to improve for the next training session, analyzing the opponents and working on a daily basis. So we don't have really time to enjoy the celebrations, euphorias and all these things. Even frustrations, there is no time or space for frustrations. Now we had a very, very poor time at the Asian Cup, but that's also part of the process, and we were well aware it's going to come because of the circumstances which were following us, but such things cannot disturb the process, you know,
Yes.
because we have very young team. I am fully confident about the future of this team, because we opened the door widely to one generation of players which was selected to represent India at the Under-17 World Cup. That generation of players was selected and trained out of the unexisting football structure in India. And they came out good, the best in India. And most of them are representing India these days. We made sure that at very early age, they get enough experience playing for the senior national team, and now we can count with these players for the next 8 to 10 years, which is a precious thing to us. What I'm asking from everyone who is following us and supporting us is patience. It cannot happen over the night. It's a process. The learning process is coming out of defeats also. The learning comes out of defeats much better than out of the winning periods, and we need to be patient. Now we're going to bring India to the edge of the qualifying for the third round of the World Cup qualifiers, which will be the biggest achievement in the latest football history. And I sincerely hope that through these 10 games which will await on us after we enter the third round of the qualifiers, we can create the buzz and the team which will be the winning one for the future.
Again, can we have our audience settle down, please, because the session is on. We cannot have the session disrupted. So can we please have the audience settle down? Let's continue, because these are interesting words. Rahul, let's come to Anil now before I go to Raghav. Anil, sports consumption as a culture in this country. Raghav, when he got the license for Rio, I remember him telling me, will anyone consume the Olympic Games? Will anyone consume a Cricket World Cup or a Euro football? And now, look at where he's come. It has become a culture. You have led this whole revolution. In terms of consumption, the sport of running, we now consume, we are part of the movement. What do you think has triggered this? Because for a long time, we did not even know. We did not want to be a part of it. All of a sudden, everything has changed. Why? What is the why? How did it happen?
Well, I think if you just create an opportunity, I think it's really that, it's just getting people involved. The moment you can touch it, you can experience it, and it's not more. You can do it at any level. You can do it at get into a walk, be part of an environment, be part of a great speak. So if you really look at how the running thing, at the first Tata Mumbai Marathon in 2004.
How many people ran then?
Well, it's an interesting one, but that's my point I'm going to come to. But in the beginning, literally 10 days before, I had 3,000 people. And out of that, about 1,500 or 2,000 came from the Navy, the Army, the Border Security Force, and of course I had the elite athletes. And what we did in the campaign was very interesting. Everybody wanted to be for health, be for fitness, it's for this, it's sort of, you'll be, it was just the wrong messaging. So the moment we took the messaging of just, get it, it's your city, showcase your city to the world, showcase yourself, your charity, your people, your family, just be part of this wonderful day. It's the #1 marathon in Asia. Just gave them that sense of belonging and pride. And they got involved. And that's why the Dream Run today is the greatest feeder system in the world.
I've seen it, I've hosted it, I know what you're talking about, and it just doesn't end. The stream of people, 59,600 people running. Raghav, when you did Rio, how many people did you take? And now, when you do sports events around the globe, have you seen Indians consume sport? Earlier, you had a little bit of money, you went and bought jewelry, you went and bought some gift. Now, people want to consume sport and travel.
So I think when we started in 2014, I was quite anxious about the scalability of the business. How many people would actually travel and spend the kind of money for sport? And the first event that we did in 2014 was the T20 World Cup in Bangladesh. We took 3 people. And
3 people?
3 people. And 3 people, for the whole tournament. And fast forward 2 years, Rio Olympics, there was never an authorized agent in India for Olympics, which was quite shocking because IOC introduced the concept of appointing agents in every country to sell tickets and to engage with fans and to build that fan experience because it's a skilled job to sell experiences. So India never had an agent until 2016. And I was quite shocked to know that this opportunity lies. Obviously, it was a hard task to get IOA to convince them to appoint us, which happened. And unfortunately, in Rio, we were appointed just 6 months before the games, which is the last leg of ticket sales. And generally, the appointment happens 2 years before. So obviously, Rio being far away, we had Zika, But even then, we took some 800 fans, which was, I think, a big number. Wow. And Anil was a part of it. And what was most overwhelming, that when we did the press conference and we announced that we were an agent, we were getting calls, like 100 calls a day from villages, from rural areas, from metro cities. They couldn't believe that there is an agent for Olympics because they've been trying to go for 30, 40 years and there's no opportunity.
But Raghav, 2019 World Cup, 15% of the India-Pakistan stadium was Indian fans, which were taken by you. So in terms of scalability and exponential growth.
So exactly, Boria. So I'm just saying that between 2014, 2019, we took 16,000 people from India from the world to the Cricket World Cup. So we took 16,000 people. And we had some 2,500 tickets for the Manchester India Pakistan, which was sold out. So the numbers for fans traveling is overwhelming. And what Boria mentioned, that today the gossip in a party or at any party at whatever level is what you're doing, where you're traveling for sport, and what is the experience. It is not about buying expensive cars and watches. So there's a huge transition in where the money is being spent. And there's no, the corporates are spending money and the fans are spending money. So I think, and we have not even touched the tip of the iceberg. And this is not just India. The concept about spending on sport, obviously it's a culture in the West, They're fantastic stadiums and corporate spend a lot of money on, VIP, hospitality, but there's a global surge, not just a surge in India.
Okay.
Obviously, the numbers are higher, but it's overwhelming.
Mr. Murthy, what he's saying, when you are a corporate and you want to invest in a sport, you can keep it with you. Does it happen if you are a sports fan? Like MVS Murthy is a sports fan, his son wants to play sport. So overwhelmingly, because ultimately institutions are made by individuals. Asham Srinivasan wants to invest in sport, is a Rahul Dravid fan and a cricket fan. MVS Murthy is a cricket fan or a football fan. Does that influence a federal bank call to invest in sport?
No, I don't think a personal interest, like or dislike, is what makes the decision. It's a function of how the brand sees itself in the eyes of the consumer finally, okay? And for example, for our brand, we're the 6th largest bank in the country, but we know that, for example, cricket is a very highly occupied space. So now we are looking at niches, saying that how do we go out and invest in sports which are still have got heightened visibility, but will come at a slightly better cost. And then we keep looking at opportunity. The other thing is that, for example, with the Paris Olympics coming up, and there is so much of expectation from our own athletes. So when you see us investing in some of these athletes, you mentioned about Pranay, or you mentioned about we're doing some work with Anju's foundation, she'll be here tomorrow. We also try to latch on to this, epiphanic or tipping point kind of a moment, which gives us a very, very high visibility. So it's not about what Sham or me thinks, but what's the overall mood in the country? Where are the other green shoots coming in? And those are the opportunities which we want to go into. The other part is that as a brand, you have two choices. Either you can be a sticker on an event which is happening, or you can consciously go a bit more deeper and work on building the sport. Being a corporate, you have that opportunity to go into. As an individual, I may not be able to contribute so much to a tennis or to an athletics or whatever, but my corporate gives me the backing. So it's a very important function of the architecture of the brand, saying that culture, art, sport, brand stories, service, this is what I want to go out and talk about. And that's the bone which moves the muscle and gets me to flex and say, I want to go and invest in this.
Fantastic. What I will do is, Ogni, I will ask you a question, then I will give all of my panelists, starting with coach, 2 minutes again. What are the 3 things that Igor Stimac in his ideal world wants from India? I know he will say 4-week national camp. We will say, sir, we can't give you. And again, we will blame him for a defeat. But that's different. But I actually want to ask, coach, but you go first, Ogni. How important is sport in your radio show? Because it's ultimately music. That's what you are playing.
Yeah.
How important is sport? Is it just a filler? Does it make a difference? Do people listen? Do people want to hear sports stories?
Actually I've hit the nail on the head, because radio is mostly about music, and we, the radio jockeys, we are known as disturbances. We're accidents. Actually, we should not be there. There should be songs. People go there to listen to music only. So during the time of our induction, we were told that if you're accident, make sure it's a happy one. So make sure it's a happy accident. So that was what we were told during the time of induction. But as the time is going on, and we are slowly but surely we're seeing that sports is not anymore just a filler in any of the shows, be it radio, be it TV, be it social media, because you and I, we do a lot of work on Facebook, Instagram, on social media per se. And people like to listen to stories. People like to listen to anecdotes. India currently 135 for 1. I'll get that from any cricketing website. But what goes on behind that 135 for 1? Rahul Dravid from the dressing room, if I might say, Rohit Sharma on the field, the stump mics. So I think that all, people want to listen to the stories, to the anecdotes, more than they want to, see the matches. And free OTTs are opening this up big time. Because if you go on any OTT channel, you will see you are shown the match highlights for free. Is this what we are aiming at, match highlights? Or are we aiming at the entire match? Because matches are not won by highlights. They are won by periods in between the highlights.
Anil Singh, he talks about people want to listen to stories. You are the story. Because the marathon is the story of resilience, story of success. Is that what is fueling further aspiration?
Of course, because as an umbrella, you see it in a bigger picture. That's the magnum opus. But it's actually individual. So, the funny thing is, today a half marathoner or a marathoner is a celebrity within 12 to 15 people at the minimum. I'm giving you an actual study. So, for example, today, our running universe, we influence 35 million people. And that's not just influence. That's not just like suggestion. They follow them. They follow them blind. four colleagues, four people, four what you call friends and family, to them he's a celebrity. And that changes approach. It sort of also has a chain reaction. But one more guy from that family gets involved, and it keeps sort of moving on. So it's, you know, I always believe that it's about creating an opportunity for them to get involved and to experience, and if you can, once, you know, the job of every sporting promoter is to keep building bridges so people can get onto it and find their own journey. You don't have to sort of pontificate, this is why and this is how. So I just think that if you align the opportunity, trying to tell a story that suits them, it may be another story for somebody else. And then when you have such a conveyor belt of stories, and if you can push that out, and it just sort of, it's so inclusive. You know, the thing about that is so inclusive, and social media, especially for participative sport, has been a major boom because they're technologically savvy, they're well-off people, and it's also about yourself. It's about you, your pride, your own. So, you know, it's always the next race is how can I better the timing of my last race. So all these things catapult into a situation that creates this. You know, if you came to the Tata Mumbai Marathon, if you went after the event was over, from Kulaba to Bandra, there wasn't one restaurant which wasn't celebrating with beer because it was an achievement. So you can see that camaraderie that it pulls in. So it's quite magical from that point of view. And I think if you do it with honesty and intent, and it's done for the right things, it will pick up. That's the beauty of sport.
Raghav, have you seen global sport consumption grow or only cricket? Where is it at the moment? Before I go to Mr. Murthy, and as I said, coach will have the last word.
So Boria, first I will talk about India, okay, in terms of consumption. I think India is now consuming sport as a culture.
Nice.
Sport is not entertainment. In the West, I'm talking about, the sport is a part of lifestyle. It's as important for you to go and play or to do business or to go to school. But in India, it wasn't that. What I have seen in the last 3-4 years, that sport is becoming a lifestyle. It's a part of the culture rather than, the parents rebuking the child that you have to, come back and study, stop playing cricket or stop playing badminton. So I think from India's perspective, what is very inspiring and motivating is that India is now consuming sport as culture and not entertainment.
If I may just add a point to what he's saying, it's so true. Today there are birthday parties, corporate get-togethers, celebration. You'll be shocked to know they want to do a run. They'll call friends and family. Let's go for this, my birthday. Let's go and celebrate the breakfast at the Oberoi. It is now, you'll be shocked, and that happens close to 3-4 times a week, all across the thing. I mean, in a city I'm talking about, not even as a nation. So he's right. It's no more cricket. People, whether it's tennis, whether it's football, whether it's Olympics, Asian Games, our eyes are open to everything else, and that's the beauty of it.
Mr. Murthy, if the Paris Olympics don't go to plan, will your commitment continue, or will you say,
It will 100% continue. But was this the full question? And
so is it dependent on performance, or is it long?
No, it's not dependent on performance. See, the point is that these are heightened moments when the sport and the brand gets very high visibility. Otherwise, you still go out and associate with the sport because there is, as he was mentioning, it's become a part of our culture. And that's really the opportunity. The other thing is that, today, incidentally, is the day when Mr. Sunil Gavaskar scored his 10,000th run. That's today, 7th of March. Now, in the absence of digital, in the absence of media as we know, I would have not known about this statistic. But today I'm reliving the moment. So it's not just about winning or losing in a World Cup or in an Olympic, but the fact that the brand can relive that moment many times over. Out of the blue, somebody will send a WhatsApp forward saying, hey, did you remember this? And the brand comes alive. So therefore, I need to decide saying that I want to go out and push this sport. And as I told you earlier, I don't want to be a sticker brand. Otherwise, I'll look flaky. And the audience will know that, okay, this guy is trying to, jump on every possible opportunity. But if I associate with at a deep level, for example, football or the volleyball league which is coming up, we also do about 8 runs in the country. It's not as big as starters, but they have been our inspiration. Today the Kochi run, I remember the first edition when we had 1 international traveler. This time we had people from 10 nations coming and participating. Look at that. So it's our way of using sport as an invitation for people to come to India and experience India, in which it's incidental that you go out and do a run, but enjoy our cuisine, enjoy our hospitality, do so much more. And more important, I think the fundamental thing is that because of the collapsing of borders or the increase in the media, our kids have an opportunity to play with international athletes and international sports players here in India, which gives them far more confidence than landing up in front of somebody like a Nadal, and then suddenly you are, weak in your knees saying that how do I go out and play? So the intimidation goes out, and that's what we need to build as an ecosystem and not just latch on to.
The Tata Mumbai Marathon it has an economic benefit to the city of Mumbai of 280 crores.
Wow. Okay.
And that's a report released by the government and the economic wing. It's not created by us. Just one event. It can redefine.
Coach, last...
Just to add to what Anil is saying, and this is how we also envisage Kochi. We are saying that tourism gets you so much of money. What if international sport is added to your, repertoire? How much more money can you go out and get? And that's the way marketers are thinking. They are not just thinking about their brand. They are thinking of building the larger ecosystem. How many parents, how many coaches, how many dietitians, how many mental health people. This is the entire ecosystem of a particular sport.
Love it. Coach, final 2 minutes, 3 minutes to you before I finish this. Only you. If we make the World Cup third round, we have 10 matches, 5 on home soil. That can do wonders to Indian football. Can you just tell me about that vision of yours? How critical is this? We are on the cusp.
Listen, first of all, it was wonderful to hear here today that we have Athletic Federation recognized as the best organized federation in Asia. Congratulations to you guys once again. And they are a clear example that things can be done and achieved in all sport federations. In football family in India, we are on our way of creating and making football culture, which didn't exist for last 3-4 decades. And it's really difficult way for us because we are dependent on government financing the football federation, and these big brands still not recognizing us because there is no valuable product for them, for their consumers. So first of all, as I always say, we need to produce the result, to attach the right guys to support us so we can create platform, because India is such a huge country, such a beautiful, but so difficult for sport to organize in each state, competitions, grassroots programs, elite programs, and to make sure that we have certain future about elite competitions. And it's a long way, it's a long process. That's why I'm saying that these next 10 games are a real test for us, and everybody involved, all stakeholders, from the fans, supporters, media, AIFF people, committees, FSDL, everyone involved needs to push in the same direction to provide everything necessary for the national team to stand the chance achieving results, because that can be the turning point for the football future in this country.
Fantastic. Yes, Mr. Murthy, you want to say something?
I also want to bring to your notice that the media and the medium have had a very, very positive influence on sport. Look at Kabaddi. Who would have thought that a game which is played in the villages can acquire so much of importance because of the sheer amount of visibility on media? What Raghav is, speaking about. You are able to get fans for specific games, and that has been the role of media. 1983, 175, nobody knew about it. But today, it gives us a great opportunity, because you can have a digital-only telecast of a possible sport. You can have a channel who's going and espousing a particular sport. And our spectators and fans themselves are people who amplify a sport. So that's a huge changing landscape, which is also giving opportunities for parents and for sports people to espouse a game that they love. And that's how the game is coming closer home, rather than you needing to go all the way and take an effort.
I will say this. I'll say this. I mean, just to echo what Coach said, forget about the AFC Asian Cup. Forget about whatever. It is not about, okay, and one loss and you trash them. We are a young sporting country. It's not about 130 crore people having access. They don't. 129.99 crores don't have access. This is an elite gathering. This is 1% of the country, not even that. Let's back them. There's an Igor match or a Leander Paes or an Abhinav Bindra, these are aberrations still and will be unless we back them in win and loss and defeat, and unless we back an Adil or a Deepthi or a Viren and make them change with their foundations. So plea, when India plays Afghanistan in Guwahati, buy that 200 rupee ticket and go and support the team. Buy that ticket and cheer for India. And if they lose, for God's sake, against Kuwait or some other team, which we won't, for God's sake, be with them. Because the only constant in human life, ladies and gentlemen, is fandom. If I am a Leander Paes fan at the age of 6, I will die a Leander Paes fan at the age of 80. We will back the Indian football team and be with them, men and women, and that's the plan. Put your hands together for my panelists. MVS Murthy, Igor Stimac, Anil Singh, Raghav Gupta, and my co-moderator, Ognijit Sen. Can I please have Love Parekh to come up on stage and do the felicitation, please? Love. Okay, so chalo baki do, and then we will do a photograph and we are done for this particular panel, and then the last panel of the day. Where's Gargi? Can we pose for a picture, please, all of you? Yeah, let's all stand. Oops. Anil, can you look in front, please? Coach, there, yeah. Done? Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, so here comes the last panel of the day and the plenary. Quite a panel with perhaps one of the greatest Indian sportspersons of all time. Where's my colleague Gargi Raut? She's supposed to introduce this panel. Is Gargi there? I'll sort of make a pitch and then she can come. 1996, 44 years at the Olympic Games. India did not win a medal. 1952, Kashba Jadhav was the last time. 1996, and all of a sudden, someone unheralded, unfancied, how many of us gave him a chance with serious injury? Fernando Meligeni of Brazil, Andre Agassi and those drop shots, and he redefines our understanding of what patriotism stands for, whether it's in Fejos, whether it's in the Davis Cup, whether it's at the Grand Slam level, at the doubles and the mixed doubles. One of the greatest Indian sportspersons of all time. He played for the tricolour and raised the bar each time he did so. Put your hands together for the one and only Leander Paes. To join Leander on stage, can I please have my friend, MD of Shrachi Group, Rahul Todi, to join us, and we will talk about tennis and corporate India and vision, and that we will sort of bring us to the last session of this evening. After that, it's a 1 hour break as Bikram Ghosh and his team get ready for a concert which is titled Sadhana, bringing together of sport and music. Anyone who hasn't listened to Bikram Da, don't miss it. And all of us will then follow it up with a gala dinner celebrating this conclave. Leander Paes for the last session of this evening. Of course. 44 years, no medal. Hardly anybody gave you a chance. You were injured. You had serious pain. You had to sort of brave all of that. when I take you back, was it possible? Did you ever believe that you could do it, or it happened to you and then it just got better and better and better? How did Leander Paes, the phenomenon of Leander Paes, happen to India?
Good evening, everyone. I was born to a Bengali mother and a Portuguese father. My parents were at the 1972 Munich Olympics. Thank you. And when they were at the Munich Olympics, Palestinian terrorists took 12 Israeli athletes hostage and eventually blew them up in a helicopter at Munich airport. The games were shut down for 4 days. Civilians were not allowed inside the village. The athletes were not allowed outside. I'm not sure what my parents were thinking, but I was conceived in those 4 days. So I don't think I had a choice. I think the choice was already made. Some of us are born into legacy. Some of us not necessarily handle that legacy really well when we're young. We tend to grow up as rebels. But as you grow older, you understand the culture, the community that we're born in. And when you play gully cricket and gully football in the streets of Kolkata, the thing you want to do is to emulate your parents. I wanted to emulate my dad and win an Olympic medal for you.
Rahul Todi, when have you been a Leander Paes fan? I've been a Leander Paes fan and a friend since his junior Wimbledon days, 1990. I've known him for what, 34 years. I've done 126 interviews, 127 going on, maybe even 200. But tell me your favorite Leander Paes memory.
I think I shared it with Leander very recently. Of course, Leander being a Calcutta boy and he won as a juniors, it was definitely a proud moment. But I honestly became Leander fan in the Olympics when he won his medal.
How old were you then?
Huh?
How old were you then?
I was actually in Australia that time, studying my bachelor's program. And I remember because we hadn't won anything and the Australians were winning a lot. And you know, Australia is a sporting nation, as Leander knows, because like me, Leander also has an Australian connect. And every medal was celebrated, and it was a low moment, right? It definitely was a low moment for me because I loved sports. All my friends there were people, one of them, maybe not a friend, but a good acquaintance was Michael Phelps. They were studying at Bond University that time doing the swimming program. And Bond had a great swimming facility in Australia. It was used as the Olympic training facility for the team as well. And they would run after these guys, you know. At any point, he had 3 more university contracts in his pocket. And it was big for me to be good in sports, my country to be good in sports. And Leander gave me that moment. I still remember it was afternoon. I was in the brasserie, which is the cafeteria, and 5-6 of us Indians were sitting because we all knew it was his match. He was in the finals, which was in itself a huge thing. And we were all watching one of my other closest friends is also a La Martiniere boy, your batch in fact. And so, you know, we were all looking at it, and then he won it.
Okay, why am I not surprised that Rahul Todi was in the brasserie and not in class? I'm not surprised. Not at all. But Leander Paes, winning Wimbledon, making it to the pinnacle of your sport, being a Wimbledon legend of all time. How did that happen? Winning an Olympic medal, I still get it. But being Grand Slam champion, being number 1, then playing with Martina and winning, defying all odds and winning medals at every possible age, defying age, tell me that story.
So as a young boy, I grew up not knowing what Wimbledon was about. I grew up a footballer, obviously growing up with the Mohun Bagans and the East Bengals, and with the Bengali heritage and the Goan heritage, football was my main sport. I don't consider myself very talented in tennis, and as much as few of you might chuckle, an average height of a tennis player in the 80s when I started was 6'1". The average height of a tennis player in the 90s was 6'2". Today, the average height of a tennis player is 6'4". I'm 6'4". Sinner, who just won, Djokovic. I'm not even talking the tallest ones like a John Isner or a Karlovic or the other ones. I'm talking the average height of a tennis player today is 6 feet 4 inches. I'm 5'11" on a good day. In that, I don't really possess a topspin backhand. So for me, Wimbledon was not something I dreamt of. It was not something that I knew about as a young kid, Boria. For me, it was playing for the flag. For me, it was playing for 1.4 billion people and proving that we could be champions in an individual sport. You know, it's one thing to do it in a team sport, which is very tough because the politics of a team sport, the selections of a team sport. Now, if you look at our national cricket team, you could have 4 India teams. I mean, your under-19 team are world champions, better than your India A. So if you look at the way cricket is developed, I think that it's a great example for other sports to learn from. I think it's a great example for other sports to incorporate on how you can bring the past champions into not only governance, but into running of the sport today. And we'll get into that in a second, but for me, Wimbledon was never something that I dreamt of. And when I embarked to play Davis Cup for the first time when I was 15, I remember my Davis Cup captain, Naresh Kumar. I was 15 years old, and he comes and knocks on my door, and he says, "So when are you going to play Wimbledon?" So I said, "Sir, I just lost in the Australian Open final, and I'm hoping to win Wimbledon in 5 months." And he said, "How are you going to do that?" So I said, "By working harder." So he said, "How are you going to do that?" I said, "By working harder." And then 5 months later, when I won Wimbledon and came back, I understood the history of the All England Club. I understood what that green and purple meant. I understood what centre court was all about. And I think as a young boy growing up in India, you're not allowed to believe that you're going to be number one in the world. You're not allowed to believe that you're going to win 20 Grand Slams. If I had to really be honest, my class teachers in school gave me extra homework to spend more time in school and not on the playground. Today, when you look at the class 10 board exams, the class 12 board exams that are going on right now, and you're a scholar, you know what I'm talking about. You've done not just Indian high scholastic, you've done international. All of our parents really wanted us to be very sound, to have bread and butter on our table. They wanted us to have a degree, they wanted us to do our masters, they wanted us to be an engineer or a computer scientist where there were guarantees. I was sitting on that front row and watching the list of people that you have, all the list of people that you have, and you are so right. This is an elitist group. You are so right that not 99% of our country do not get the opportunity to play sport. And that's my next journey. My next journey
That is my next question. Before I go to Rahul, what is Leander Paes going to do? If I ask you 5 years down the line, tell me the Leander Paes story, and of course Shachi comes in there. Rahul, you will talk about the Shachi vision, but Leander Paes, what is your vision for sport? Your vision for the next 5 years?
So my new Wimbledon is, in the next 15 years, to have 250 million kids playing sport. Yes, that's a big number. But here's the how, right? I was very blessed to be born into this family of legacy. My dad has 60 years of sports science knowledge, sports education knowledge, sports medicine knowledge. A lot of the people in this room have dealt with my dad and worked with him. You guys know the amount of knowledge that he had. I figured that knowledge should not just rest with our family. So I've taken Dad's 60 years of knowledge, and in that COVID time, I put all that knowledge together, the amount of archival work, whether it was in books, in magazines, in computers, in hard disks, got all that together, and I put 40 years of my knowledge together, and I approached a very dear friend, someone who I look up to a lot, Mr. Murthy at Infosys, and I said, "Sir, can I talk to you?" And he goes, "I don't know how to play tennis, what do you want from me?" And after the initial chuckle, I am taking this 100 years of knowledge and wanting to impart it all across our country. I think that if you're going to do anything, it starts at home. And as much as I'm really attracted to go into the Middle East and do it, and go into America and do it, and go into Australia and do it, countries that are so far ahead in sport than we are, I believe it starts at home. I feel like I'm very lucky to have a partner in Shrachi. Shrachi Sports is something that we're just starting up. Rahul and the whole team standing in the back there. Guys, can you stand for a second, please? So that's the Shrachi Sports team. And I've purposely asked them to stand up so you can recognize them and give them trouble later. And we love to collaborate with people who are doing great work in sport. One such lady is right here in front. Deepthi, can you please stand up for a second, please?
And by the way, she speaks tomorrow. So we will celebrate Deepthi and her work tomorrow in any case.
So in Shrachi Sports, we've got a vision to take all this sports knowledge and share it around the country. And I'm going to leave Rahul to do that. But I'm really excited about this new partnership.
Bolo bhai, what is the journey? What is the vision? What is the plan?
So thanks, Lee. I would just continue on the Australia story before. So during those times, I used to travel a lot in Australia, and like I mentioned, people like Michael Phelps, Thorpe were studying at Bond, and I used to see their lifestyle. And I always wanted to be a sportsman. I wanted to play cricket, tennis. I tried, but I was never good at it. But I always thought, I had some of my friends who were in class 11, 12 that time used to play for the cricket team. And I used to think that can they become the next Indian player, my friend. So anyways, I got to Australia and I saw these rugby players, these footy players, these players playing, doing swimming, making billions of dollars at that time, and owning Porsches and Ferraris from their own money. And I used to always think that will this happen in India? And very recently, and more so since my association with East Bengal Club, I felt that the Indian ecosystem is ready. So it was a huge fanboy moment. I think these are the signs that, our society has developed. 25 years ago, Leander's father knew the value of sports. He encouraged him. He made him quit school so that he could continue in sports. How many parents of those days would allow? If you went and say cricket, football, and in Bengali I'm saying, barite shobai bolto are khabi ki. It's a very common word. But today it's not true anymore. So that is where the journey is. That is why the journey is be a part of this large ecosystem, which we all are part of already in many ways. And like I said in my earlier session, both of us want to start at the grassroots. So education is what we will focus on initially. We are going to strategic stake in the ASOS campus in Barasat, and because of our access to townships, we are looking at multiple campuses, multidiscipline, and like I said in the morning, all our real estate assets, and now like Lee mentioned, Shrachi and Leander will work together not only on sports but even in real estate ventures, because Leander brings in a lot of value, outdoor fitness, creating concepts for 5 acres, 10 acres, 20 acres, 50 acres, is Leander's learning over the years, his experience. Shrachi brings in the real estate, and I think what we all add along with my team is a lot of passion and the love for sports.
Let me stop you there, because the last 10 minutes of the day, it started at 9:30, and trust me, it's been intense. If there's one thing critical of this day of myself and our own team, I think we had too much. We packed in too much. It's difficult to sort of absorb everything, but then when you have this kind of a lineup, you try and do that, you try and get the best out. So maybe that's something we will take lessons from. But you use the word passion. What if you close your eyes, all of you close your eyes and think of Leander Paes, what is the one word that defines you? What is the one word that defines Leander Paes? It's passion. He played for the tricolour. Each time there was Davis Cup, Leander Paes would go 2 notches higher, 3 notches higher, 4 notches higher. So what if there's a higher ranked player? So what if it's Goran Ivanisevic? So what it's Mark Rosset? So what it's anybody? Leander Paes, tell me this.
Can I interject? Sorry, Bobby.
No, go ahead.
But I couldn't stop myself. I want you to tell the story of why you decided to dive and why that became your strength, and that's how the Flying Man logo came. And it'll just define passion. So.
Done. You do that, and you also tell me, when the tricolour went up to you, what did it mean to you?
Everything. Gave me a sense of responsibility, that I saw many Indian faces. Gave me a sense of responsibility of my best friend who lost his legs playing gully cricket with me, because I kicked a ball over his head, and it was gully football actually. I kicked a ball over his head and he went running for it, and a tram ran over his legs, and I was slow that day. I promised myself I'll never be slow ever again. I think the one thing that I'm blessed with is to celebrate life and celebrate people. I could sit here from this side. You know, the view from the podium is so different than the view from there, and I could sit here and pick out each and every individual, and that's why I asked Deepthi to stand, that's why I asked my team to stand. I can ask Mr. Tata to stand, I can ask Anil Singh to stand. I can go through this whole audience and get every single one to stand and pinpoint what their magic is. Because that's what life's about, right? I mean, we've been through a COVID pandemic, we all have stresses in our life. We all have stress at home, stress with kids, stress with traffic, stress with earning a living, stress with so many things. I mean, putting on this show on your birthday is stressful, right? We're going to sing happy birthday to you in about a couple minutes, but the point here is that there's a lot of stress.
No, sorry, happy birthday.
Yeah. I mean, we might as well do it, right, guys? Can we sing him happy birthday?
It's tomorrow, it's tomorrow, it's tomorrow.
Happy birthday to you.
It's tomorrow, it's tomorrow, please.
Birthday to
Come on, don't embarrass me.
Coming back to it is that sport is a great way to celebrate life. A tennis ball or a football or a cricket bat does not understand religion. It does not understand caste. It does not understand how much money you have or don't have. It understands passion. When I, was a ball boy for Davis Cup, to answer Rahul's question, I was about 10 or 11 years old studying in La Martiniere in Calcutta, and one of my best friends, Rishi K, got up in class and was leaving class, and the teacher allowed him to leave. So I held him back. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Davis Cup. I was literally about 10 years old. And I said, what's that? He said, it's a tennis event and I'm going to be a ball boy. So I said, that means you can cut school? He goes, yeah. So I said, I'm joining you. So I said, teacher, I'm also a ball boy. So I ended up at the South Club. I got there. Akhtar Ali was the head of the ball boys. So I said, sir, I would like to be a ball boy also. He said, run one sprint. I ran a sprint. I ran pretty hard. I became a ball boy. 10 days later, Akhtar Ali asked Vijay Amritraj to play with me, to try me out for the Britannia Amritraj Tennis Academy. And Vijay said he was too busy. So Anand Amritraj pulled me out to court number 6 at South Club down the back on the grass courts, and he said, come, play with me. I did not have a tennis racket, so I grabbed my best friend Rishike's tennis racket, and the grip was strung for a lefty. I'm a righty. So I said, what do I do? He said, don't let the ball bounce. I said, why? He says, because you don't understand spin. You don't understand slice. I said, I don't know what that means. He says, you don't understand topspin. I said, you're right. He said, don't let the ball bounce, just hit it in the fly. So the first ball, Anand served. I volleyed. He said, no, you must let it bounce. I said, no. Then he hit another serve, again I volleyed. Then he hit another shot, again I volleyed. He got so upset, he hit the ball to the next court. So me being me, I ran, and I couldn't reach it, so I dived. And I volleyed it back, rolled and came back. That's how I got selected for bat.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. I will finish off with my Leander story and then call my colleague Gargi Raut to close off the day's proceedings. Okay, so this is deeply personal. COVID times, we were all struggling. Each one had depression. I was thinking, for example, what is the value of the work that I do? Sport doesn't even exist. The whole world had come to a standstill. In the organization that I was consulting at that point in time, the India Today group, we were thinking of cutting down people, the sports team, what is the value? I had to do something to keep the team going, to do something to keep programming going, to launch a series that will keep my team intact. We did not have the money. We did not have the means because sport had come to a standstill. What's the value? It was only about numbers and deaths and injections and vaccines. And I called some of my friends. I called Sachin Tendulkar, I called Saurav Ganguly, I called Leander Paes. And I called Lee and said, listen, I want to launch this series and you're going to do it for me for free. I can't pay you because this series will sustain jobs. This series will sustain sport. And Leander said, what do you mean? And I explained to him what I meant. And he said, how many interviews do you have to do? And I said, 13. He said, who are your other people? I said, I've got 3. He said, we'll touch base and I will get you the rest of the people using my contacts. Ladies and gentlemen, Leander Paes. I wish Rahul Todi all the very, very best. Sport isn't easy. Investing in cricket, I just saw Neetu Dao step in. Investing in East Bengal is easy. It is a brand. Investing in hockey isn't easy. Tennis isn't easy. Fitness isn't easy. Cricket isn't easy when you're talking about local cricket. Women's cricket, even more difficult, Rahul Todi. So you've joined in a, you've entered a domain which is not an easy task. So wish you more success, all the power, and perhaps you have the best mate in Leander Paes. Well done.
Thank
Gargi,
you. Thank you.
over to you.
Hello everyone. Before we end our incredibly inspiring day one of the Rev Sports Trailblazers 2.0 conclave, I'd like to tell you a little story about how Leander Paes inspired me as a little kid. At 10 years old, I was hugely inspired by Leander Paes' victory at the 2010 Australian Open in mixed doubles. Watching him and Cara Black triumph against tough opponents, it taught me a lot. It taught me the power of teamwork, resilience, and determination, and of course, never giving up on your dreams. Leander, you became my role model when I was just a little kid, and you became my motivation and the force to face challenges head-on with unwavering determination. Later on, I also learned from my parents about the 1996 Atlantic Olympics bronze. Of course, again, his unwavering determination and never give up attitude taught me that with hard work and perseverance, anything is possible. Ladies and gentlemen, as we draw the curtains on what has been an incredible day one of the conclave, I'd like to congratulate the legendary Leander Paes and the esteemed corporate entity Shrachi and their partnership. Let us celebrate the fusion of talent, dedication, and corporate support in excellence in sports. Together, they have exemplified the power of collaboration, propelling athletes to greater heights. Here's to a future filled with more victories, shared achievements, and the enduring spirit of partnership. Thank you for being a part of this remarkable journey. I'd also like to invite Vishal Bamalwa of Nemichand Bavilma to felicitate our guests, please.
Thank you, Gargi.
If everyone could please step up for a photo op. There's
Thank
also another special gift from Wow Momo.
I'll close it.
Yeah.
So that brings us to an end of day one's proceedings of the Trailblazers Conclave 2.0, exactly an hour break. And then we reconvene, we turn the other side as Bikramda readies himself for the concert. People who want to come tomorrow, and yes, it's my birthday tomorrow, so we celebrate with the best way. We get the best of Indian women to come and talk to us as to what women's empowerment means for our athletes. So we have Mary Com, Anju Bobby George, Rani, Nikhat Zareen, Sania Mirza, and the list goes on and on. India's best conclave. Thank you very much, everybody, for an absolutely enthralling and wonderful day, and time for the concert in an hour, and then the dinner. Leander Paes and Rahul Todi, thank you very, very much. So exactly an hour from now, we turn and the concert the other side.